Here I am in my garden again. It's taking a break from a very busy day. And I read this a lot. This is a regular read of mine, The New Scientist. This is the latest one. It's got some great stuff on the nature of mind and intense learning states and how we use trance for creating long-term psychological change. Which, of course, I'm very interested with trance work through both yoga nidra and the clinical hypnosis I do, and coaching and just yoga generally, meditation, and then shamanic work that I've worked with. Trance is beginning to be explored, but there are other things that are of concern to me in this magazine. And if I go through this, it starts talking about the hottest February on record ever, or then we get to another page here. And it talks about when the lakes dry up, Lake Pupu in Bolivia, if I'm saying that right. What does it say here? It says 2,700 square kilometers of lake has just disappeared. It's irrigation and climate change that has dried it up. Lake Titicaca is disappearing. Lakes on the central Anatolian plateau in Turkey lost half their volume, half of their surface area between 2003 and 2010. And this piece, When the Lakes Run Dry, just continues with a list of catalogue of the problems of fertilizer-rich lakes, because the lakes are becoming reduced in volume, and then more and more fertilizer in them. The water's being drained off for irrigation. The water's evaporating for climate change. The fresh water, by the way, is quite necessary for us human beings, both for growing plants and also for us to drink. Lake Alexandrina losing over 2/3 of its volume and experiencing a 5-fold increase in salinity during droughts in 2007-2009. The catalogue continues. The Aral Sea in Central Asia, which went from being the world's 4th largest lake to all but vanishing in less than a century. And that's just the start of it in this magazine. If we look elsewhere, we'll find there's comments at the end of this magazine on how to resolve the issues of plastic in the ocean. The fact that there's I can't remember how many carrier bags of plastic per foot of coastline for the whole of the planet. I think it was 3 or 4 bags of plastic. It's enough plastic. There's almost more plastic than fish in terms of weight. We're getting to a point whereby our oceans are becoming saturated with plastic. Bees are becoming extinct. If you haven't noticed, we need bees we need bees more than bees need us. Bees don't need us. We need bees because they pollinate the plants that we use for food. So you've got bees, plastic, fresh water. We've got massive issues with climate change. The governments, we've got people like Trump and Cameron and people like that who are still posturing around as politicians, doing nothing, basically. Going to sort of, the climate accord in Paris is 25 years too late. The sort of stuff they're talking about should have been done 25 years ago. My father gave me a book in, must have been 71, sometime around then, called Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. Another book called Limits to Growth. I've read those as a child, 11, 12-year-old, 13-year-old child. These have been issues for a very, very long time, and still we're posturing around pretending to do something about the amount of fossil fuels we burn. It's a ridiculous situation. Then there's the soil quality. We have issues around the amount of fertilizers and pesticides that go in the ground, and there are questions as to how much integrity the soil has left for growing. Some people are pointing to about 60 to 100 harvests maximum left, the way we're abusing the soils. I don't know. I'm not a scientist in that sense. I read The New Scientist. I used to be a scientist. I've studied science, but I am not a scientist. I'm not the sharp end of research. But having all this information available to people making decisions as to how to run this planet and making decisions in terms of resource usage and application on a global basis is about high time we did it. We can't afford to be mucking around anymore with national governments making arbitrary decisions about their individual political processes. The time of national governments is over. The time of tribes is over. We're no longer tribes, squabbling tribes on this planet. We have to come together as a species and start stewarding this planet. It's really, really simple, and it's high time we did it, don't you think? What's that got to do with Engage Yoga? Well, Engage Yoga is precisely that. It's taking the insights of our practices into the world of politics and economics, into how we use our money, into how we earn our money, ethical livelihood and all that, how we influence each other, how we work as community, how we grow together. And of course the political processes are making it very, very hard for people on the ground to do anything but work really, really, really hard. You haven't got time for inquiry, you haven't got time to do anything much in terms of making any changes. We're all stretched to the maximum in terms of generating enough income to pay the rent and feed our kids, aren't we? Yeah. We have to work together. We have to rebuild community. And rebuilding community is a key part of Engaged Yoga. It really is. It's a way of seeking into what an authentic community is and making it a valid and powerful process for us to engage in. How do we do that? We have to get over our differences. We have to work out the issues of being messy human beings and that kind of thing. I've got my own experiences of that. We all have it. So I wish us well in that process, and I hope we can use the internalization work of resolving ego shadow issues, no longer projecting our nonsense onto the external world in a form of blame and attribution of responsibility externally, and start taking more and more responsibility for ourselves. If each one of us takes responsibility for our thinking and our feeling, our behaving, and all the consequences of that, we're going to have an amazing planet here. We can work in community, enlightened, awakened, realized community, and that's what we need to be doing. And Engaged Yoga, of course, is about building that awakened, engaged, realized community. Thank you very much.